Hello everyone, this is Dina and today is August the 8th and I have just returned from a stitching meetup that was held at the public library here near my home. I had hosted it today and I'm really tickled Talia could be there from Covered in Cat Hair. She was able to stitch with us today, and our friend Carol, who's not a floss tuber but an avid stitcher, was there, and we had another lady who was only able to be there a very short period of time. The interesting fun note about that is while we were stitching today, on two separate occasions, we had library patrons that were exiting the library. They go right by this room that we stitch in. They stopped in. First one, and then later in the day as we were getting ready to leave, another lady stopped in, and both of these individuals were drawn into the room because they saw we were working on some kind of needlework, and they are both cross stitchers. They both also do needlework, needlepoint work, and we were able to give them the Facebook group for the Georgia Stitchers get-togethers, and they'll be requesting to join that so that they can get notified whenever any of us in Georgia are hosting a get-together. So I'll share with you what I was stitching on. I took my new latest start with me today to work on it, and the reason that I had a new start is that I participated in the Cross Stitch Finish Line sale that was the Guess What sale. And you were to start a new project. It had to be a new start because you posted a picture every day for the entire sale. So on the first day, you posted your fabric. The second day, your fibers. And for the next 4 days, you posted your picture with 25 stitches, then 50, then 75, and then 100. And on the very last day of the sale, you posted your pattern. Well, I'm here to tell you, my pattern was so popular that as little as I had done on it, you know, not even 100 stitches, it was guessed at 75. And so I'll show you what it was. This is the Prairie Schooler 2013 Santa. And when I started mine, I started with just these little green things on top. They were my first 25 stitches, and then I added in just a little bit of the top here and then over here, and by the time I finished, I think I had that much done or so, maybe that much, but this was it, this little corner. The words cuckoo were not on there yet, and someone actually said to me, someone had already guessed Prairie Schooler because of the colors. They guessed Prairie Schooler, one lady did, when all I had was my fibers. So anyway, they guessed Prairie Schooler Santa, and one individual actually said, is that the cuckoo one? And you see here it says cuckoo, the little bird is cuckooing. So anyway, that's my new start. That's what I'm working on. That's what I took with me today. That's what I did for that Guess What sale. And I think Terry and Joe, we ought to do that again. That was great fun, and I enjoyed it. I couldn't guess what anybody was doing, but it was fun to do that. So now I've continued stitching on that piece today at my stitching meetup. I had I had the cuckoo clock finished and the bird, and I was working in somewhere around in here, I think, today. And so I got that little bit done today in my day of stitching. We did a lot of talking. Anyway, but this is where I am on my current newest start, which is the 2013 Santa from Prairie Schooler. So great day, great fun, and we've decided that we are going to get together really soon and do it again. Then when I got home today, I had Happy Mail. Oh, I was so tickled. I knew one was coming because the individual had told me that they wanted to send me something and had gotten my mailing information. The second piece, which I'm going to show you first, I did not know was coming. Becky, thank you so much for thinking of me. You know her as the Obsessed Stitcher, but she wrote me the very sweet card and then sent me a pattern, Raggedy Ann and Andy pattern. So this pattern is a Gloria and Pat. It's quite precious. And as Becky said in her card, it's a bit dated, but she just thought it was cute, and she thought of me when she saw it. And I thank you. I thank you for that. That was wonderful. And the second piece of happy mail I had came from Maureen McCowd, and she said that I could say her name. But Maureen wrote me one of the nicest notes, and she just indicated to me that she's a cross stitcher from way back. She had stitched about 28 years ago and had stitched her first item, or her first big finish, and she had, you know, life had gotten in the way, and she didn't get to stitch anymore after that, and had not stitched for 28 years. And she found YouTube, and she found my channel as part of that YouTube group, and started watching, and I guess her stitching bug kind of bit her. So she started back stitching, which I find is just fabulous. Fabulous. You know, we talk about enabling each other. Mostly we're talking about stash. We enable each other, you know, to buy something, or we enable each other to start a particular pattern. But it's the first time that I've heard from someone that who hasn't stitched in that long, being able to pick up their hobby again. And I think that's just wonderful. So she wanted to send me something, just out of the goodness of her heart, really, because she didn't owe me anything. But she just wanted to send me something that she thought I might enjoy, because she's about to have a lot of enjoyment stitching again. And I have to share this with you because I have several of these publications, these books. I do not have this one. And she looked through her stash and found one that she thought I would like. And I like every single pattern in it. Every single pattern, Maureen. You were right. But she referred me to one in particular that she said she thought I would really like on page 39. And so I'm going to turn to it real quick, and I'm going to share it with you. Because she was absolutely correct, especially this year. This is called Liberty Angel. I have to peek around so I can see what you're seeing. Isn't that beautiful? You know, I've been seeing everybody work on their Lady Liberties, and it's like you can't find the pattern anymore, and it's really hard and that sort of thing. I like this every bit as much as I like that Lady Liberty, and it's not as big, and I think it's just as impactful. Maureen, thank you. Thank you very, very much for this book. I love it. I love the designs. I love the Victorian appearance of it, and I think that I'll be stitching quite a few of these over the next few years, and but really, really did like the one that you picked for me. You were right on with the Patriotic Angel. It was beautiful. So that's all I have for you today. I have been busy having a wonderful stitchy day, and that's just a lot of fun for me. So thank you all. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you all that make videos so that I have something to watch while I stitch every day. And I just love this community. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you and your beautiful acts of kindness that you share with each other, and then especially when you turn them on me. That's pretty cool. So I bid you adieu, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, this is Dina. Welcome. Today is Friday, August 18th. You saw my new start on the last video. It was this 2013 Prairie Schooler that I started for the sale, for the Cross Stitch Finish Line sale. What is it? Or guess what? And so I was able to finish my 2013 Prairie Schooler Santa, and here's my finish on that piece. So I was really tickled with it. I did stitch on this Davos fabric, which is the call for fabric. Used all the call for threads. I did find the Davos fabric a bit trying for me. It looks like an Aida when you look at it, but I was doing the this pattern very carefully because the threads would slide and hide behind the fabric, the threads in the fabric. I don't know why it was doing that, but I had to really be careful, and I had to use a laying tool part of the time just to get it to quit from doing that. You may know some technique that you could share with me that prevents that, because I have room on here to do another one, but I'm just not sure that I enjoyed the fabric that much, but I love the look of it. It's really, the color is beautiful to go with the Santa. So was really happy with that finish, and tickled that I had a finish at the retreat. That's always fun, and all the finishes are celebrated at retreat. Everyone applauds. It's great fun. So I enjoyed that. Then I am also, I'm in Stitch from Stash again this half of the year, and I have 2 partners in my Stitch from Stash this time because I'm greedy and I like hanging out with people, and so I was assigned one partner, and then I had another friend from FlossTube that had asked if I would be their partner, and I'm not sure if I don't think they got assigned anyone in time, so I went ahead and said yes, and I'm so glad I did. I'm having so much fun keeping up with these 2 lovely people. But one of my partners from Stitch from Stash, you know, as Stitchin' Petunia, and she is so energetic and so much fun, and when we started talking back and forth online about being partners from Stitch from Stash, one of the things that we decided to do was an ornament sale, because we both want to do ornaments this year. And we picked the 15th of the month, each month, to work on a Christmas ornament. So this month, in the month of August, this is the one I did. This is a Yuletide greetings pattern. I found it in the Big Book of Christmas Quickies. And I just think this Santa is so cute. He's smiling so hard, his eyes are closed. And someone mentioned on one of the Facebook groups that it even looks like the bell is smiling, which I thought was really cute. But I did this Santa to match my ornament that I made last month, which is Rudolph, from the same designer. It's in the same book. They're sort of a pair. You'll see Rudolph with his really sporty cap and his checkerboard antlers, and the colors match. They go together. So I don't know if I can get both of them on the screen at the same time, because I was trying to leave enough room for finishing. So let's see if I can. Yeah, I think you can see both of those now. And so those kind of, to me, made a good pair. And so now I've finished those. Now I have to pick out something totally new and different to do next month for that stitch along. But Terry, it's been fun. I'm enjoying it. And then today is just a day of finishes because I had a finish last night. It's called The Fruit of My Labor, and it actually says the fruit of my labor is tomorrow's heirlooms. And it's a little sampler, and it was put out by Foxwood Crossings, and the designer is Cynthia Stalcup Smelker, or Smelser. And she's the owner of the Dixie Darlin cross-stitch store that I visit when I go to Tennessee. And this was one of her original designs. And the border around this piece is done in the Karen Wildflowers cranberry colorway. And I will show you what that looks like here. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. And there are 3 specialty stitches in the pattern. The border are specialty stitches, and then there are 2 spacer lines, rows that go across, that are specialty stitches. And I finished it. When I got home, I was so disappointed that I didn't get a stitch on it there. I pulled it out, started working on it. and in 2 days time I had it finished. I actually worked on this piece a total, I think about 24, 25 hours. So it is a quick stitch. It doesn't take you too long, but this is it. And I just find it absolutely beautiful. This variegated thread, which is a specialty stitch on the border, look at those colors. Oh, they're so pretty, and that's showing up so well. They're there, and then they're in those two straight spacer rows there, both of which are different specialty stitches as well. They're easy to do. It's just really more of a embroidery look to it. But I just loved it. It's just very simple, and I put my name and my date right there in the gate door. I just thought that was a great little space to hide it in there and tuck it away in there. But I just thought the piece was gorgeous. So I finished that one. And I was really happy to finish that last night, but it was late, and I was tired, and I didn't want to film last night, so I waited till this morning to get up and share with you all my finishes and what I've been working on. So this week has been extremely productive. 3 finishes, so pretty happy about that, since 3 finishes since last Friday, so exactly 1 week today. That's been fun. So now I want to talk to you just for a brief second about plans for the rest of the month. I haven't talked a whole lot about my rotation or plans or what my projects have been, because this summer it's been very fluid. I've had different focuses that have changed my rotation. I've had some sales that have changed my rotation, and I've enjoyed it. It's been very different, and it's been a lot of fun. You know, I was focusing on a finish with my children's garden, and that sort of pushed some things out. And then I was getting ready for the various sales and the retreats, and so I started some of these smaller pieces to have things to work on at the meetups and things like that, because it's just too much for me to take one of my bigger pieces with me. I don't concentrate well. I took Ashley's roses with me to the retreat, and I think I put 3 stitches in and realized, this is too complex where I'm at. I was on her face and hair, and I thought, this is confetti heavy stitching, and I need to be at home where I can mark my pattern easy and I can concentrate. I may even have to turn off, you know, any noise or anything. So, but now I have finished all the smalls that I've been working on. So I'm either going to have to do some new starts for that. I'm going to have to focus on something new. So I put some thought into it, and I'm going to focus on Bewitching. She's one of my year of WIPs. I would love to finish another year of WIP. I've done 6 out of the 10 so far. I would love to get 7. She would be my 7th year of WIP finish if I can do it before the end of the year. I would really like to finish her for Halloween. I don't know that I can. I'm going to try. I don't know till I try, right? I'm probably halfway at best, you know, maybe 45% done. But with a little focus of attention, I think I can make some progress on her. But I have my Nantucket Rose in a sal, and I want to give it attention every month. So I'm not going to put it aside. I'm going to keep working on it. And I'm going to focus on the Bewitching. And then I'm going to be working on one of my other big pieces, whether I'll pick which one it's going to be. It may be a different one each month. But I will rotate through the Firefly Fairies and Sleeping Beauty and the Nativity as my other big piece that I work on in the month. Because it is time for me to go back to focusing in on Christmas. I would like to stitch some things for Christmas. And so these ornaments that I'm doing once a month will probably start really stepping up a bit, and they will become a lot of my smalls that I'm going to be working on. So you can anticipate seeing from me lots of work on Bewitching, maybe a little bit of work on the others rotated through to the end of the year until I finish Bewitching, and then I'm going to pick another one of those for a focus. and try to get through the rest of my current year of WIP pieces, even if it's toward the first of the year next year. And then you'll start seeing probably a lot more Christmas ornaments, Christmas smalls that I'll make flat folds out of or something, but things that are going to be Christmas related. They'll start taking my top priority. So there you have my focus for probably the rest of this year. Ready for a whole new batch, you know, of things to work on. And the Year of WIPs has been a fabulous way, I think, for me to have finished as many as I did. So looking forward to 2018. Haven't made plans for that yet. Will soon. And as I do, I'll share them with you. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you have great stitching time. Hello everyone, this is Dina. Today is Tuesday, August 22nd, and I hope you're doing great. I know I'm had a wonderful day today, and I've had some stitching time, and I'm really happy about that. I've actually just finished a rotation today on my Mirabillia, which is Sleeping Beauty, and I'll just do a really quick reminder of this is the one that I'm working on, because there are a couple of different Sleeping Beauty patterns out there. And I will tell you that when I picked up my piece for this rotation, I had come across here and had worked right across where the tassel is, and had gotten right over here to where this little green spot, the lighter green, picks up right here. And that's where I started this rotation. And then I worked my way across here, and I got almost to that dark green color, not quite there, which was a little bit further than I expected to get to. But not quite all the way. So anyway, I am weary. It's been 3 days of very concentrated effort, but I want to go ahead and show you where I'm at with my Sleeping Beauty. So here she is. I think she's lovely. You can see I do 2 squares across. That's what I call my row that I'm working on. And you can see there where I started at the green, right past that purple, and then I just went on over. I've actually made a little video just a minute ago. I turned the camera around and I took a quick little video of me talking to you in a little more detail about this piece and showing you where some of the beads are going to be. So I'm going to insert that now. Okay, this is a little more up close and personal look. This section is what I had completed before I started, and this little green section right here is where I started for this rotation and traveled, was doing 2 rows across here. I tried to do 2 squares, 2 blocks all the way, and I got completely done all the way to here. There is a grid line that's broken. If you can see, I did pop one. That happens every now and then. So I made it to that grid line complete. And then I kept pushing, trying to get all of the green done up to the color change over here, where it comes off to the end and then goes to the border. But I got this much done in these 2 rows here, and I think there is one additional color that I need to do in here, and the rest of these holes, and there's quite a few of them. See all these holes, these empty places here? Those are for beads. Beads. Lots and lots of beads. I'm happy with how much progress I made this month, so it's time to put her away. And I will be starting on something new tomorrow. I went and watched Melanie Watkins' video about Year of WIPs, and I think she's done a great job with it. I think it's been great fun. I know I have been very pleased that I was able to finish so far 6 of my 10 WIPs. I did give consideration to going forward in 2018 with Year of WIPs, and I'm going to have to not participate next year. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. The new minimum is 15 WIPs, and I'm sure some of you may remember that when I started Year of WIPs this past year, I had 8 WIPs, and I had to start 2 new things just to have enough to meet the minimum so I could participate. This year I would have to start 8 new things in order to participate. And here I am trying to focus on getting one of my Year of WIPs still finished, you know, by the end of the year. And I just really had to do a little soul searching about how comfortable I would feel with 15 WIPs, and I wouldn't be comfortable at all. I just don't think I could do it. I am a project stitcher. I start everything looking toward the finish. You know, everything I start is for a gift, or it's for a place in my home that I know what I'm going to do with it before I work on it. So everything I work on is for a purpose, and I'm looking forward to using it. So that's just how I like to stitch. And I think if I were a process stitcher and just enjoyed stitching no matter what it was and didn't really matter when I finished it, that would be very freeing for me, I'm sure, and I wouldn't mind having 15 WIPs. But that's not my personality, and so I thought about it really hard and considered it over a few days, and I've made my decision that I just am not ready to start 8 new things just to qualify to have 15 that I'm trying to finish. If I do that, if I bring my number up to 15, that's a lot less time that I'm going to have to work on my 4 remaining WIPs that I'm carrying over that I don't get to finish this year. So I just didn't want to go there. I didn't want to overload myself. And you know, stitching is to be relaxing and fun, and I don't want to make it pressure filled and uncomfortable, you know, for me. So that's why I'm not going to do it. I had a wonderful time. Melanie, I think you did a great job administering the program, and I hope you'll let me lurk and hang out with y'all and cheer you on. I do wish all of you guys the best at it, and I know I still have till December for this year to participate, and I just wanted to give you my update on Sleeping Beauty, let you know my decision on Year of WIPs, and explain why I'm not angry or upset about anything. I've had a wonderful time. I just don't think it fits the way I stitch, and with the new minimum. So I will look for other sales. I've been looking at Facebook groups and jotting down the sales that I would like to participate in, and I'm going to have plenty of those to do. I'm going to enjoy those, and I'm looking forward to the coming year. So I hope you're all having a great week. I hope you've had a lot of stitching time, and I'll be back soon with another update on my next WIP. Hello everyone, good evening. Today is Thursday, August the 24th, and I have a finish to share with you. It was going to be a new start. As it turned out, it's both a new start and a finish. I am, as you know, making Christmas tree ornaments this year, and I decided that I was going to make one today, or at least start on it, and it went so quickly I was able to finish it. So it's been a long day of stitching, but I have it ready, so I want to share it with you. This is from the 2013 special Christmas issue of Christmas Ornaments, and this is the cross stitch, cross stitch 2013. And the one that I picked to do, you can see why I picked it, is this one right here, Merry Stitchmas. All the different sewing motifs, and I sew a little, so I decided to do this one. So I thought, how cute is that in the shape of a Christmas tree? I don't think I'll finish it with the lace around it. I'll do a different kind of trim, but I just liked this because of the nod, you know, to the stitcher and the sewer. So this is my finish. As you can see, the Q-snap shape is still there. I haven't even ironed it yet. I just pulled it right off the Q-snap. I went into my buttons, and I had stitched the one in the middle, because as it turns out, that's the center of the design, and that's where I started. So I stitched that button, and then I decided to attach the others because I had these little small buttons that looked really good here. And I brought in a couple of red ones just to give it a little more color, because as you can see, the white ones don't show up quite as well. But it does give it a little 3-dimension, and I like that. So this is the Merry Stitchmas tree ornament from the 2013 Christmas issue of Just Cross Stitch. Tomorrow is a SAL for me. It's the Now I Know My ABC SAL. And I had finished the piece I was going to use for that SAL. I finished the fruit of my labor. So now the only thing I have right now that has an alphabet on it, that has the letter we're working on in it actually, is my secret stitch. So I will be stitching it, and I will be able to show it in the SAL itself, but I won't be able to show you the film here until after it's gifted. Because anyway, I will be stitching away, and I hope you will be too. You guys have a great weekend. Bye. Good morning, everyone. This is Dina on this Monday, August 28th. And today I have two things to share with you. One is a WIP update. I'm at the end of my rotation on this WIP, and for this month anyway. And I want to show you my progress. And the second thing I have today is a book report, and I'll put it at the end of the video for those of you who are not interested in book reports, so that you don't have to sit through it if you don't want to. But for the WIP update, I'm giving you an update on my Bewitching. This is the little piece that I had decided to try to focus on a finish. And when I stopped last, my rotation, I had just finished the sleeve and the hand and some of the dress, the jacket that she's wearing that was holding in the hand over here. Just a little bit of that. I had started working on that. And I had pretty much come across about here. There was a little bit of a gap in this dress because I had gone out to do the two sleeves. I had done this ribbon about even with the sleeve. And this right here, I had stopped at the top half of the sleeve. So you could say that for here, I was to the sleeve. For here, I was to the sleeve. And here, I wasn't quite filled in yet. But that's kind of where I was. Almost the top half of the piece, or the page, done. So that was where I was when I started on this piece. And this is where I am today. I was able to go down a lot further with the coat that she's holding on to, and I was able to bring the dress down further from the waist, the jacket as well, and I took the ribbon and the pole down, and if you can see it, I can't see really well what you can see, but there's some green right around in here. There you go, maybe you can see that. That's the starting of all the vines for the pumpkin. So I would say that overall, I had probably come another 2 to 3 squares down going across. So I think it's progressing well, but remember this was to be a test to see if I thought I could finish this piece by Halloween. And I can tell you that because there's so much across here, there's a whole lot of this and more of the dress than there has been, and then you got all the pumpkin stuff. I'm not sure. I just think there's a lot more left. It gets fuller at the bottom. And so I don't know if I would have time with just 2 more months to get it finished. But I have decided to continue working on it a little extra just to see how it progresses. I did have a lot more luck this time with the blending filament. I think I've gotten the right length that I can work with, and it seems to not fray so bad. I can get to the end of the length of thread before it starts fraying on me, and then it's time to tie it off anyway. So that worked out pretty well this time. So I've learned that, and I think I've gotten kind of used to the pattern in this coat that has all the different shades of turquoise. And so I'm reading the pattern fairly quickly, and I'm making way for the beads. There are lots of beads in this dress. If you can see, there's a little clover here of 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that are just all dispersed throughout this cloak. So there'll be a lot of beading. There's one in the blues that you can see pretty well there and there. So that's happening all over the cloak. Much easier to see to the naked eye than what you can see on camera, but it's all throughout there. So that'll be beaded heavily. I also noticed when I took this off my scroll rods this time, because it was time to move it, and I thought, well, since I'm going to be scrolling it up, and I'm going to want to show you the whole piece, I'll just take it off the rods. And I'm glad I did, because what I found out was the 3 treasures that I couldn't help but put on here because I had to see what they look like. The ones on her hat, if you can see, there's a little treasure there. There's another one on her corner of her hat and inside her hat. There are 3. Just rolling it around the scroll rods had knocked one of them completely wonky, and it was hanging off the piece. I fixed it, but I decided I don't want to keep it on the scroll rod. I'm trying to focus on this, so I'm hoping that I can just work on a big Q-snap and protect it. I probably have one, I know I do, have one big enough that I could actually have the Q-snap out here. And I very well may do that too. So I could still put it in my floor stand, and that may be my solution. But anyway, that's my WIP update. I think she's coming along nicely. I really, really love the colors in this piece, and I'm enjoying stitching it. The linen is beautiful. I love the shade of purple that it is, and I think it this piece was made for it. It's really, really nice, and I'm thoroughly enjoying working on it. So thank you for watching the update of Bewitching, and hopefully I'll have another update on her fairly soon, maybe by the first half of September, because I'm going to try to give her a lot more attention, you know, in the next couple of months to see if there's hope of finishing it by the end of October. And I'm so hoping that is doable. So I'll let you know how it goes. You guys have a fabulous week of stitching, and I know what's left so far this month will be the drawing for the 2 lucky recipients for Pass the Stash, so don't miss that. And at the very end will be the book review. So thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Pass the Stash reveal. I want to thank Paula from New Zealand for contributing her pattern of Children's Garden to be passed along during this giveaway. So I have recorded everyone's comments that have indicated their favorite pattern that they've ever stitched or want to stitch by Marilyn Leavett-Imblum, in honor of the fact that she designed this Butternut Road pattern. And I'm going to be using the random number generator to pick the 2 winners that will get these 2 patterns. I pulled this up on the computer and I've entered in the number 50 as the maximum because I had 50 people make comments that wanted to participate in Pass the Stash. So let's get right to it. Let's go ahead and get a generate for the first winner. Number 26. Number 26 is Cross Stitch Addict. And I'll see if I'll try to show you her name. There it is, Cross Stitch Addict, number 26. Okay, so there's our first winner. Congratulations. And now let's do the random number generator for the second person. Number 8. Number 8 is Mariana Mori. So Mariana Mori and Cross Stitch Addict, congratulations to the both of you. I hope that you will enjoy stitching this pattern as much as I did, and I would like it very much if you could get in touch with me as soon as possible by either sending me a private message through YouTube or sending me an email, and this is what you'll be getting. And I will post my email address in the comments below, so that might be the quickest way. But either way, I'll be watching for your information. So once again, that's Mariana Mori and Cross Stitch Addict. Congratulations! So happy to be able to make the announcement today. And I hope that you will have a fabulous week of stitching. Talk to you later. Bye. Hello everyone. If you're still watching, this is a book review, and it's for an older novel, a 1987 first published novel by P.D. James. It's called A Taste for Death, and it's a detective novel. I got this book at a library book sale a couple of years ago because I had not read any of P.D. James's books. And I got this one and another one. And I've read the other one a while back. And I finally got a chance to read this. My husband and I were going to be traveling a few weeks back. And I started it. And I've been reading it a bit and then got really into it and stayed up and finished it late last night. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about it. The author interested me because according to the bio about P.D. James, she spent 30 years in various positions in the British Civil Service, including working for the police and criminal law departments. And now she's or at the time this book was published, I'm not sure how many publishings it has, but she was a magistrate in London at the time. And I think that's interesting because the setting of the book is London, England. In fact, in the beginning, there's a little note from the author that's an apology for one of the neighborhoods that she highlights in the book for creating this fake home that would have ruined the look of the whole neighborhood had it been what she described in the book. So there was a note from her, reassuring everyone that the whole book was fictitious, all the characters are, made up, and none of these facts are real. But this was an interesting story. This author has, at the time of this printing, had written 10 books. I don't know if she's written more, possibly has. But at the time of this, her 10 books were, all but one, include one of two characters. They're both detectives. One's a female and one's a male. And it just so happens that the two books I had picked up from her, both were about the male detective being the lead in the story, investigating the murder, of course. And this detective's name is Adam Dalglish, and I may not be pronouncing that correctly, but that's just how I began to say it, so that's what came off my tongue. And he is a sad character. He is an excellent detective and is well known for solving cases, but he is a very lonely and private man. His wife had, early in their marriage, when they were very young, had died in childbirth, and the baby had died with her, and he lost both of them, and it has scarred him terribly. And he's such a very private person because of it. He just doesn't share his personal life with anyone. And so he's a bit of a mystery to everyone, you know, and, but he's so good at his job. That's, you know, that's how everybody knows him, is as this wonderfully clever detective who solves all his cases. He was so good, in fact, that in this book, at the beginning of the book, he is starting up a brand new group of detectives that are going to be a special unit, and it's very private. It's not supposed to be broadly known that they're a special unit, because they're going to be assigned all those touchy cases, you know, that are either rich people or famous people or political people. And it reminded me of the TV show Major Crimes. If you've ever seen that, I loved that show. But it reminded me very much, this book did, of Major Crimes. I thought, I wondered if maybe that show, you know, may have been based on something like this. But in this book, there's a murder right off the bat, and it's a politician who the detective knows a little, not much, but just enough to know he respected him and liked him. And then he finds out he's been murdered. And so it's tough on Adam, because he is trying to investigate the murder without letting people know how much he really did admire the guy. And then as he finds things out throughout the course of the investigation, he realizes that he and the victim have a lot of similarities in their life. And I think it maybe makes him wonder about his own mortality. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting novel, because it has layers that you can peel back like an onion. So there's the main story, of course, of the murder and solving the murder. And then there's a story underneath that that's more of a class struggle, because the characters within the book, and there are several characters, more than I want to sit here and tell you who everybody is, because you'd be bored and lost. But there were several characters. There were the upper crust British family that had lived in this mansion for 150 years, and it just so happens that, you know, the man that was murdered is, you know, the son in that family, and the patriarch of it now. And then you see the other people in the family that are you know, that are the in-laws and the people on the periphery that aren't really accepted or included. So it speaks to that. And then it goes even further, and it introduces you to some of the employees of the family. And they even reference, when they're talking to the detective, you know, that they don't have an upstairs, downstairs environment, that they stay to themselves and they keep their nose out of the family's business, which isn't true. They don't at all. And the detective knows that. But it does highlight that class struggle. It highlights, you know, the fact that the older generation were holding on to it very tightly. A lot of their behaviors and expectations indicate that. And then in addition, there's another little onion layer that you peel back, and it shows you the struggle between, within the family itself, between the generations. So there's also a whole layer of the book that's interwoven in there, that's the struggle between the youngest daughter in the family and her father, who happened to be the murder victim, and the son who was murdered. His wife has a strange relationship with the mother of the family, and they all live in the same house, so, you know, they have to interact with each other. It's just very, it's a very intricate book. And if you can highlight all the characters and kind of put them out on a chart for yourself, maybe in your mind, about who they are and who they're related to and about what age they are, I think it really helps these struggles just unfold. It took me a couple of chapters to really get the lay of the land and to figure out, okay, this is part of what's going on. And it did affect, you know, what they're willing to share with the police and how open and honest they are, or how much they lie. And I think it was a very good talent of P.D. James to be able to carry you along as the reader, knowing that you're almost there. You've almost got the information you need to know who the murderer is. And you know somebody knows something that they're not telling, and you can't tell which one it is. As it turns out, there are multiple people that are being dishonest with this detective, and he's having to just one by one, you know, expose their lies and figure out if it has any bearing, you know, on his case or not, or if it's a personal thing that they were worried about. And they're protecting different people. Some characters are protecting a brother or a mother protecting a son. And so it's just interesting to see who's lying and for what reason. And then there's a break in the case when one of the minor characters feels betrayed and decides to spill the beans. And so apparently that's, you know, that's what happens a lot of times. Someone you think is on the periphery and doesn't have much information can give you the piece that's needed. And it's, you know, the case is solved in the end. What I did like about it, though, is that there were little tiny stories within the story. You know, there's a story about an older lady who is alone. She's widowed, and she goes to the church every week to put flowers and do things to get ready for the church service. And there's a little boy that she meets along the way that's a truant, and he sees in her that she is older and frail and mentally not very stable. And he takes it upon himself to attach himself to her and go with her to the church and accompany her and help her put the flowers out and all this. They develop this little sweet relationship because he doesn't really have a mom that's active at home. You find out later she's there, but not really. And in the end, you have an entire story that's resolved about this little boy, which is kind of cool. He's intricate to everything, but you also kind of get an ending to his story and how he gets along, and what happens to him in the end is totally unrelated, but it's like another little book. You know, it's great. So there's multifaceted stories in this one story of how these people's lives are intertwined because of this one event. But they are, by the way the author presents the people to you, you actually have a whole small short story about those other characters, and you feel like you know them, and you wish them well, and you're concerned for them, and it's an interesting book. So I liked it. I liked the fact that how it was resolved. I did solve it before I got to the end, but I think that you're meant to do that. I don't think it's one of those things that I did simply because I read a lot of different, murder mysteries. I think you were supposed to figure it out. And then you have to just read a little bit further to see how all the different threads get tied up together, how everything ends up. So it is an entertaining book. I wouldn't say that there were anything in here that makes you be a soul searcher, or it's not a deep thinking book, but it is very entertaining, and I would recommend it if you enjoy mysteries, especially detective style mysteries. It is one that kept my attention, and when I started reading it, I only got to read little bits of it at a time as we were driving from here to where we were going, or I was waiting somewhere for my husband to do some business or something. I would pick it up and I'd read it a few minutes. And so I got a slow start to the book. And I think for that reason, I didn't get into the book until about chapter 3. But I think that was me, not the book. I think it was just I didn't have the time, you know, to really dedicate it to the book. But I did, by the time I was, not even a third of the way through, I could hardly put it down. I wanted to figure out, how's he going to unravel this? You know, these people are lying. He knows they're lying. How much is true? And it's interesting because you walk through it with him, you know, as he confirms a piece of information to be accurate or not, you learn it with him. And so you're beginning to, you know, calculate, okay, well, that was true and that was true, but that wasn't. So they're lying about something. So you kind of have to go through it with him. You're not all knowing. You are not. You are just only understand what the detective understands. And so it is from his point of view. And that's the only one that you get. So I enjoyed it. I thought for that reason, it was one of those where you're not saying, come on, can't you figure this out? Look what this lady, you know, has done. Because you know what everybody's thinking. So you have to kind of go with it, you know, with him. And I think that's fun. So I recommend it if you like detective novels. If you don't waste your time, because that's really what it is. But if you like a good mystery or a good murder mystery, then this is a good old book. And you should be able to find it in your library or at a used bookstore. But it's A Taste for Death by P.D. James. Whatever you might be reading, I hope you're enjoying it. I hope that you're using it as a great way to relax and to allow your mind to process and ponder the things that the author may be sharing with you. I think books help keep us sharp, and it's one of the reasons that I try to read on occasion. And I hope that you've enjoyed the review of the book. So I'll see you soon. Bye.